I'm Kara Gothier, and this is Infertility Mental Health, episode number 9. Infertility is mentally exhausting. I know, I've been through it, and the toll it takes on your emotional well-being is significant. If you are stuck in infertility limbo right now, this is the podcast for you. My name is Kara Gothier, and I am a certified infertility life coach, the mother of 2 manifested miracles, and I can teach you how to be mentally healthy during this chapter of life. If you are ready for change, if you are ready for your real life to begin now, join me, and let's get into the mindset to motherhood. Hello there, aspiring mama, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm so glad that you're here today. I've taken a little bit of a break from recording episodes, but now I am back and I have a new round of content coming your way that I'm so excited about. Today, we're going to talk about the concept of happier when. This idea that we will be happier when we have a baby, we'll be happier when we have a family, and we'll be happier when we fulfill this big lifelong goal that we have about motherhood. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, welcome. My name is Kara. I am the infertility life coach, and I help women have amazing relationships and exceptional mental health as they work towards their goal of motherhood. And I do that by teaching the concepts and tools of life coaching to help you get through the mental load that you are struggling with in this experience. The entire concept of motherhood gets painted in a very rosy picture by what we are influenced by with social media and with magazines and with stories and context of our whole society. It builds it up to be this monumental experience that we look forward to. And especially if you're struggling with infertility, you probably have put that idea of motherhood on a pedestal and are putting certain parts of your life on pause before you will actually embrace that level of happiness that you're expecting to have when you become a mother. But what happens when we do that? We create a story in our minds about an experience that we have not yet had, thinking we know what it will be like once we have it. And assuming that it will be better than the experience that we're having now, simply because of the story we've created and attached to it. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret that you might not be aware of if you've never thought about it in this context before. Your capacity for happiness right now is exactly equal to your capacity for happiness at some point in the future. So that point in the future that you're thinking of motherhood, you're thinking of how your life's going to be, you're thinking of all of the emotion of that you're going to experience, specifically the happiness that you're going to experience, that is all available to you right now. I know that seems far-fetched, and in the throes of infertility, it seems exceptionally far-fetched. The truth, though, is that a circumstance is never responsible for our happiness. Something external to us is never responsible for the happiness that we feel inside of our bodies. The only thing that can determine the amount of happiness that you experience are the thoughts that you think. Every thought that you think comes from something you observe in the world. So any circumstance that exists in the world, we interpret through our thoughts, which then drives in emotion in our bodies. And then from that, we show up in a variety of ways by either doing things or not doing things in our lives, and that makes up the context of our lives. Your ability for happiness, your capacity for happiness, is directly linked to the thoughts that you think. And what you tell yourself, the story you create, is the fuel that moves that emotion in you. So that is the general structure of the self-coaching model, which is the tool I use when I teach coaching when I work with my clients and what I use on this podcast to interpret life coaching tools for you. The self-coaching model is the framework and structure that can solve every problem that you have. Understanding that your thoughts create all of your feelings is a powerful tool to know. And especially if you're going through something incredibly difficult like infertility, to know that the way you feel is directly tied to every sentence that runs through your mind is a really good thing to know. And even more than that, it's a good thing to know how to manage. And that's what I teach people how to do. So many times people think that when the baby is present, when they have the physical baby in their arms, that then they will have the ability to feel this immense amount of happiness in that moment. And that's true. You probably will be feeling an immense amount of happiness in that moment, but it is not because of the baby. By definition, that baby is a circumstance. It is something that exists outside of you and therefore cannot directly affect your feelings unless you have a thought about it. An external thing like that will never bring you lasting happiness. The trap that I don't want you to fall into is this idea that you will be happier when you have that baby, when you have reached this monumental goal that you've set for yourself and are standing in that midst. You don't have to change or improve any part of your life to feel happier right now. The only thing you need to do is to focus on your mind and the thoughts that you are thinking and how that is showing up and vibrating in your body. What emotions are those thoughts fueling, and what are they giving you as results in your life? If you are currently operating day-to-day thinking that you will be happier when you have that baby, when you have that family that you're thinking of, when you are pregnant, or any of those steps in between, when you live in that space and you sit in that space and you think in that space, you show up in that space constantly, and the emotions that brings for you are so intense. I like to talk about my own experience a little bit in this podcast, and I, for the longest time during infertility, had the thought, I will be happier when I have children because on holidays I will know exactly what to do. I had that thought constantly, year after year, holiday after holiday. It just kept repeating itself for me over and over and over. And I always said, I will be happier on holidays once I have kids because this will all go away. All of this thinking will just go away. I especially did this with Christmas, specifically did this with Christmas because I had built this idea, this image in my mind up about what that holiday would be when I had kids, and that I would only be capable of happiness on that day if I could fulfill the vision that I had. Now, this is ridiculous for a couple of reasons. First off, we can't predict the future. We can't know exactly what is going to happen in the future and know how things are going to go. We spend so much time kind of trying to make our lives fit into a certain idea of what the future will hold, but in truth, we have no idea. The second reason that this is ridiculous is because I am a human being, and as such, I have the full range of emotions. So from the very awesome ones to the very awful ones and everything in between. I am expected to experience all of them at any given point of my life. During infertility, we think that we are experiencing all of the snowball of negative emotion that will exist in our lifetime in a concentrated amount of time. In all of those months trying to conceive, we think that that negative emotion is like this big hurdle of stress that we need to overcome and get through so that the rest of our lives can be completely void of feeling that ever again. This is simply not true, because on any day we could feel any emotion at any time. And we know that because our thoughts create all of our emotions, and we're capable of thinking any thought at any moment, so we can feel any emotion at any moment. And this is true for every single person in the world. So if this is something that you're struggling with, I want you to keep a few things in mind. Your thoughts create all of your feelings. And you can create any feeling that you want to have at any moment of your life. You are in complete control of how you feel because you are in charge of everything that you think. Any external circumstance that you encounter will never make you feel that level of happiness that you're looking for. It is always going to come from a thought that you're thinking about that external circumstance. And with that, I want to wrap up today's episode and remind you that you are wise, you are whole, and you are worthy of everything you want your life to be, even during infertility. I love you, and I will talk to you in the next episode. If what I said in this episode resonated with you, I encourage you to download the Infertility Mental Health Checklist, which is a document with 9 life coaching tools that will help you through the struggle. If you want that, go to my website, www.infertilitylifecoach.com/checklist, and sign up. You will get a copy immediately, and you can start doing this work today.